This is video 2 of 3 of explaining the Newton's second law assignment. If you didn't watch the first video, during the first 1 or 2 minutes I explained why I'm taking the time to make these informational explanation videos. So I'd appreciate it if you would just watch that those first couple minutes. Okay, this part is about drawing force diagrams. The net force is the sum of forces, but there are two tricky parts. You can only add forces that are going in the same direction, that is left and right or up and down. If two forces are acting in opposite directions, then one of them is represented mathematically as a negative. Calculate the net force in each of these scenarios. Make sure you say the direction. Two people are pushing on a cart from opposite directions. To the right with a force of 315 newtons and to the left with a force of 650 newtons. Draw the force diagram. In this question, I did it for you so you could have an example of what a force diagram looks like. So you don't have to do A for this part. B, calculate the net force. Don't forget units, newtons, and the direction, left, right, up, or down. So you'll be putting your answer to B here, and you don't have to do this part, but I'm going to show you how I would calculate that net force. So I'll go to show your work. And really what this looks like is that we have a force that's going to the left that is 650. Okay, so that's 650. And a force that's going to the right that's less than that. And that's why I drew that arrow shorter. So a force that's going to the right that's 315 newtons. 315. Okay, so we're wanting to find out what the magnitude is of this force right here, that difference between the 650 force that's going to the left and the 315 force that's going to the right, because this is what's going to control the movement of this cart. So I need to go back to my scribble. I need to subtract the 315 from that 650. So 0 minus 5, I carry the 1, make that a 4, right? I'm sure that you will do this on your calculator, and that is totally fine. So that's 5. So this is 3 and 6 minus 3. So 335. All right. And of course, so we have 335 newtons. Don't forget newtons, comma. And then what direction is it going? Yeah, this cart's going to be going to the left, right? That's the direction of the larger magnitude force. So 335 newtons to the left. And we're done with question 6. Question 7. A box weighing 440 newtons, the force of gravity on that box is its weight, is lifted with a force of 800 newtons. Complete the force diagram, add the lifting force and the values, calculate the net force, don't forget newtons and direction. Okay, so that box weighs 440 newtons. I'm going to call that the force of gravity. So I will go ahead and add 440 newtons. And then it has an upward force of 800 newtons, right? And 800 is more than 440. So I'm going to draw this one with a larger magnitude. And that was 800 newtons. So I'm done with part A. Now I'm going to say 800 minus 440. I'm just going to go ahead and do this on my calculator now. 800 minus 440 equals 360 newtons. And the direction for this one is up. Last one. Two children are pulling on a tug-of-war rope against a bodybuilder. The two children are pulling to the left with forces of 300 newtons and 500 newtons. The bodybuilder is pulling with a force of 750 newtons to the right. Okay, take a moment really quickly and think about what that looks like. We have two children pulling to the left, and a bodybuilder pulling to the right. So I'm going to draw that rope actually as just a little circle. And then I've got my forces that are coming off of that. Okay, so I'm going to start with the bodybuilder pulling to the right. Okay, so I'm going to show that bodybuilder, this is pulling to the right, 750. That's pretty big. I'll go ahead and do this. 750 newtons to the right. I'll add my 750 newtons. Okay, and then to the left, we have both kids. Now you might be tempted to do something like this. I've got 500. Okay, that's less than 750. And I've got 300. Okay, that's less than 500, so it's gonna be something like this. Okay, so you might be tempted to do this, but this really doesn't show us the total magnitude of force that's going in this direction. So what is better is to go ahead and link these up. Like you've got one kid behind the other pulling on that rope. So I'll start with that 500. Doesn't really matter which one you start with, but there's the 500. Okay. And here is the 300 right behind it. Hopefully that should look bigger than the 750. I don't know if I did it that way or not, but it should be. So this one is 300. And this one is 500. Okay. So 300 plus 500 equals 800 minus 750 is 50 newtons to the left. All right, so those kids together are stronger than that bodybuilder, which might not be totally realistic. Oopsies. All right, so that's questions 6 through 8.